Hi, everyone, and welcome to Hot Off the Mess. I am your host, Samantha Bush. And guys, I can't believe who I'm sitting here with. I'm kind of freaking out. I'm honestly having a fangirl moment, but I'm sitting here with the king of reality TV, Carlos King. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I'm truly freaking out.
Oh, I
because
am too. We
I'm
follow each
literally
other
the
on
biggest
Instagram
fan.
and stuff.
I'm your biggest fan. Like,
Aw.
I've been following you forever. And I can't wait to talk to you and ask you a million questions.
Well, ask away. You know, we follow each other on Twitter and Instagram, so I'm a fan too. And when the request came in, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And it's long overdue.
It's really long overdue. I can't wait to get into everything because I feel like so much has happened this week. And I just want to start at the very top. Normally I, start with some Bravo news, some headlines, and obviously I want to talk to you about She by Sheree.
Of course you do.
She by Sheree. Okay, well, you know what? No, I take that back. I actually just want people to know who you are first, actually.
Okay.
I don't know why I just jumped right into She by Sheree. I think I just got so excited. But if you guys are unfamiliar with who Carlos King is, first of all, I don't know how you could be if you're a Bravo fan, but he's truly a legend. He started basically, you were a producer on the first season of Atlanta. I believe you were the first producer on New Jersey. You were someone who you were under the table when Teresa flipped it.
Yes.
Am I correct? Yes. I'm truly freaking out. Okay, just tell me, before we get into everything, tell me about that moment. Being under the table as Teresa Giudice flipped it. What was that like?
So, like you said, I produced the first season of Atlanta and went on to do it until season 9. And with New Jersey, I did the first 2 seasons, which I think are the best seasons, but I digress.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I was an associate producer during season 1 of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. And when you are an associate producer, you're responsible for producing a housewife, right? So my assignment was Danielle Staub. Yes, I know, cray. I had Danielle and Teresa.
What a pair to have.
Exactly. And then on Atlanta, I had Kim and Nene. So that's a whole nother story.
We'll get into that because that season 1 of Atlanta is how I got into Bravo, but we'll get into that in a bit.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. So long story short, the entire season was about Danielle. And I think we all can just admit that season 1 was all about Danielle. So Danielle knew that the women were talking about the book in my Danielle voice. And she never had the opportunity to defend herself. So she wanted to address the elephant in the room at the finale. So back in the early Bravo days, the Real Housewives finale was always like this group dinner with the housewives, their husbands, their kids from ages 0 to 25. It was a kids table. It was the housewives and the husbands. That was the sort of mandate. So I was Teresa and Danielle's producer because when you are an associate producer, you are assigned talent. And in the case of the Real Housewives, you're assigned housewives. On Atlanta, I was assigned Nene and Kim, which, girls, a whole nother story for later. And I also had Teresa and Danielle. So yes, I'm a gluttony for punishment. So Danielle being the topic of conversation was the big story during season 1. We all knew that. And Danielle knew that. So she wanted to address the elephant in the room, which I will call the book in the room.
The book. Cop without a badge.
New York Times bestseller now, teasing.
Yeah.
So Danielle said, Carlos, I would like to bring the book to the finale dinner. Because at that time, on Real Housewives, the mandate for every finale was you had to have this big dinner with the kids and the husbands. And so I'm like, good idea. I talked to the team of producers. We all agree, great idea.
Mm-hmm.
However, Danielle wanted to wear an LBD, a little black dress. So we were like, girl, where are you going to hide this book? You can't just walk into the restaurant and like have the book in your arm. So she said, when I arrive to the restaurant, I'm going to hand you the book. And you give me the book whenever you think I need to like bring up the topic.
Okay.
So we're filming.
I think I know where this is heading. I'm so excited.
So we're filming for like an hour, you know, whatever. They're exchanging pleasantries. It's very, very awkward. Very awkward. So the producers and I said, you know what? I think it's time to hand Danielle the book.
Oh my God.
So girl, I had to crawl under the table.
Who did you have to crawl like between? Like how, like where did you start?
So because I didn't want the cast to see me.
Right.
So I'm crawling on all floors, right? And I am directly between Danielle and I forgot who she was sitting next to, but
Albie.
Was it Albie?
She was sitting next to Albie and Joe Giudice. She was like in between them.
Your memory is fantastic.
It's truly a mental illness at this point. Like it's a problem.
But the guys didn't see me. I crawl under the table. Danielle knew it was me because we, you know, of course, talked about this. And I tap her on the ankle, signaling that, girl, the book is here. So when Teresa flipped the table, I was long gone. Like I was not under the table when Teresa flipped it. And a lot of people were like, wait, did you flip it yourself because you were underneath it? I'm like, no, I was gone. Danielle, the moment Danielle put the book on the table, I was out of there. I was gone. And the most historic moment in Real Housewives history happened.
No, literally the most historic moment truly, it was the table flip and Real Housewives of Atlanta season 1 that I firmly believe like put Housewives on the map. I know that there's this feud between Vicky and Ramona saying like Orange County or New York, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, controversial. The first 2 seasons of New York were flops.
Snoozy, Belusi.
And Orange County, I mean, like, who?
Come on, girl.
Like, no one cares about Quinn. No one cares about all the Tammys and the Fannies. Like, I don't even know their names.
Me neither.
I don't care. But truly, so Atlanta, I have to tell you, Atlanta was like my introduction to Real Housewives. The first season, I will never, ever forget Kim and Nene not being allowed in the party. Big Papa, the wig, the close your legs to married men. Looking back on that reunion, the very first reunion, Nene was wearing leggings. Like it was a very different vibe. You know what I mean? Like it was so different. And so you were in charge of Kim and Nene.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What was that experience?
Girl, it was listen, I love what I do. So I love producing. I love working with interesting people, extraordinary personalities, all those things. Mm-hmm. So mind you, it's my first reality show. My first.
Oh my God. And you got Kim and Nene. Oh, I got Kim and Nene.
I had no experience in reality television. So the Real Housewives of Atlanta was my first foray into reality TV.
Okay.
And I was just so enamored with them. You know, listen, big personalities, very different, but also very alike and just like, you know, listen, big egos, big hair, you know.
Everything was larger than life.
Yes. You talk about Texas. No, honey, Atlanta was big. So it was fun, but also a big headache because you're on the receiving end of a lot of angst that is coming your way from both parties, and you have to be neutral. And I think the biggest mistake that some reality producers make today is they choose sides. And it's like, honey, call me Switzerland. Okay? I'm here to do a job. And Kim would talk about Nene. Nene would talk about Kim. And my job was to make sure that they had their voices heard and that they felt represented. And that's the reason why, till this day, 15 years later, I still have a good relationship with the both of them.
I love that. I mean, truly, Kim and Nene are the greatest frenemies of all time. And then slowly following in their footsteps, like they really paved the way, I think, for Karen and Giselle. Who like they're these two personalities that are so dynamic and they like need each other in a way. Like, and they both recognize that. And I think that is what makes it fun. Also,
so true.
You were obvious, like we just discussed, you were working at New Jersey, and I have to tell you, my number one hottest house husband is Chris Loretta. I love
Gorgeous.
That man.
Those eyes,
like him in that winery in the basement, like,
and he's such a man.
He's such a man. Like, I die for Chris Loretta. He's truly my favorite. And the way that he just like loved Jacqueline. Like, a girl can dream.
Ground she walks on.
She's fucking batshit, and he was just like, he's Jackie. Like, yeah, it's my girl.
I'm not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere. I stand beside him. Like, that was Chris Loretta. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, I just really had to have you share that story before we get into like.
I love it. It's like
everything.
Fuck Mauricio. It's Chris Loretta, girl.
Chris Loretta. It's like Evan Goldschneider. Nope, Chris Loretta. I mean, but I would take Evan Goldschneider in literally a heartbeat. I saw him on the streets at BravoCon, and like,
how is it in person?
You don't understand. Like, I was like weak. I was like, oh, like I yelled his name. Like, I became feral. Feral. I screamed. I go, Evan! And he was like, hey! And everyone around me was like, who is that? I was like, why are you even here if you don't know who Evan fucking Goldschneider is?
Yeah, why are you at BravoCon if you don't know all the Bravo celebrities? Bye, girl.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, wow. It was a moment. Also, Joey Gorga really does it for me in real life too. Like, when I saw him, I was like, I get it. Like, I get it.
Can we talk? I get it too. And I think, listen, I didn't get it pre-shaved head.
When he would spray paint it.
I was like, ooh, no, I was like, oh, Teresa, your brother, no, thank you. But now, like, he's bald. Muscles, you know, I'm like,
he's like a little
Melissa.
Ninja Turtle. Like, I love him. Luigi. Like, he is like, he does it for me, and him and Melissa are just really, really hot together. And like, it's really something. Anyway, so I want to talk to you about things that are going on right now. Okay. I mean, I could literally talk to you all day. Like, I'm giddy. I feel like alive. Okay. So She by Sheree launched. There was some drama going on the interwebs about the launch because you couldn't shop it. And then we finally got product. I need your opinion because I know that you worked with Sheree, like, especially you worked with her the first season when there was, no fashions.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? I mean,
what's so funny?
People have words.
Yeah, no, look, sure. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, funny enough. I'm like, that fucking Sheree is so iconic to me that no matter what happens, bad or good, the bitch is the talk of the town. And there's always something so interesting going on in her world. I got to be honest with you. I've always been fascinated with Sheree because even when I first met her season 1, I mean, this beautiful woman who was going through a divorce, when she said, I am a part of Atlanta's wealthy elite, when she said, oh, honey, I don't do budget. I remember Deshaun Snow had this fundraiser.
Oh, where she wanted to raise $1 million?
Yes, a fundraiser with no funds being raised.
Yeah, she raised, I think, $5,000.
Yes. Sheree walked in with her fur coat dripped to the ankles. And she said, she has arrived. And my gay ass was like, oh my gosh, I am obsessed with this woman. And then she went up to the table because, of course, she had to sign in. And she said, who's going to take my coat? And they were like, what do you mean? And she said, wait, no one's going to take my coat? And they said, honey, coat check is over there. You have to hang yourself. And she lost her shit. So I say all that to say, I've always been obsessed with this woman because I think she's so interesting. Fast forward to She by Sheree website being crashed. Look, I was so like, no, I want you to win, Sheree. Like, no, bitch. You guys don't get it. I love this woman. I am very, very close to Sheree.
Mm-hmm.
And when the website crashed, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And then when it was, when that post came up saying like, sorry, we're going to be, under construction. Yeah. I'm like, fucking Sheree. And then it hit me. I said, this bitch will always be in the news from September, spring, summer to She by Sheree website being crashed to people accusing her of like these false fashions from other vendors. I feel like, and I want to get your opinion. I'm like, this is low-key iconic. And I wonder if when it's all said and done, if all of this press and attention she's getting is going to benefit her in the long run.
I think it will, because I feel like, I love Sheree as well. I truly think she's one of the most beautiful housewives of all time. She's just someone that like you can't not stare at. Mm-hmm. Like I love watching her. And she's someone to me that is so funny and iconic, and she's not even trying. Like she just says whatever and it's automatically like goes on a t-shirt. She's so funny. I don't know. I feel like with this She by Sheree crash 404 can't connect website situation, I don't know. I feel like people maybe have reached their limit. They're like, we want to support her, right? But we literally can't. Why can't we? Like, who are these people on her team that are failing her? It's very Sonia Morgan.
Yes, except it's more iconic, and that to me,
it's more iconic because it's less tragic.
It's less tragic, and listen, no one cares about a fucking toaster oven. No shade, Sonia. I love.
But literally, no one cares.
No one cares, and no one cares about your Century 21 like clothes.
That was very weird, and then people were mourning when Century 21 went out of business. During the pandemic, I'm like, who was going there?
Oh, no. And it's funny. I used to live in New York, and girl, you only go to Century 21 when you want to buy some knockoffs. So it was sort of like, it wasn't the cat's meow. So the thing with Sheree is I feel like she is somebody from Chateau Sheree. It took her a long time to build the house. And now she arguably has the best looking house on Bravo.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. So that was a talk of the town, but she proved people wrong. This She by Sheree took 14 years and the website crashes. So the best part about Sheree to me, this bitch, and I mean that in a compliment, this bitch has not said anything about it. And I think that's so iconic. She's not going on a press tour of like, oh, she is like, whatever, it happened.
Can't be bothered.
Cannot be bothered. And guess what? I find that to be so fucking iconic because these other housewives would go on a press tour,
scrambling,
damage control, hire a crisis manager, go and watch what happens live. You know what I mean? She's like, I don't care. And the best part, when the website crashed, my girl was at a party in Atlanta with Quad and a bunch of like Married to Medicine people, not giving a fuck.
You know that it's like my mission in life. Like I was put on this earth to spread awareness about Married to Medicine.
The best show on Bravo that
it's the best show on Bravo. So when you said Quad, like my ears perked up because it's my favorite show on Bravo. I tell everyone to watch it. And you know what? Every time someone tells me I started it, I can't believe I never have seen this before. I'm like, I know. What do you think I've been fucking telling everybody?
Yeah. Underrated. It literally, when people say like, oh, what show would you produce that's not on your roster or you haven't produced yet?
Yeah.
I'm always like, honey, Married to Medicine, period.
I mean, Dr. Heavenly, Dr. Simone. I can't get enough of Quad. Quad is truly a reality star.
Period.
I also want to talk to you about the Real Houses of Potomac trailer that just dropped.
Yes.
I have been dying to talk about this for days because it dropped, I think, Tuesday. Dave Quinn, of course, teed it up perfectly as he always does on Twitter with the bouquet of blossoms. And he's got these delivered tomorrow morning. I'm like, you are a genius.
Love him.
What are you thinking? Because it looks fucking incredible.
I get in a lot of trouble. Oh, no. I get in a lot of trouble for saying this. But one thing about me, I'm honest. The Real Housewives of Potomac is currently the best Housewife franchise. I love that show. The trailer gave me everything I needed plus more. To see Karen get up out of her seat and cuss out Cha-Cha, I love. To see... Again, unpopular opinion if you live your life by Twitter, which you shouldn't. But Giselle, to me, is such a genius force multiplier, a ghost producer. To see that she's like, I feel uncomfortable with Chris Bassett flirting with me. I'm like, Giselle, are you kidding? So this whole storyline of Chris Bassett flirting with women, I cannot wait to watch. A Candace versus Giselle is comedy to me. I can't wait for that.
It's truly comedy.
Mia throw a drink in Wendy's face. What are we doing here? And
there's a cancer scam, potentially.
Yes. Very Kim Zolciak.
Very Kim.
Teasing. And last but not least, to see Ashley in her hot girl phase, now that she's divorcing Michael, but also they're buying a house together. So it's like, is this a scam? So
it's very messy.
This may be, because listen, in my opinion, season 5 or 4? Maybe 5. Season 5 of Potomac to me was the best season. I just loved
everything. When Monique and Candace kind of fight.
I love all things season 5. So I feel like this upcoming season may be their best one yet, based on that fucking trailer.
I have to say, I laughed, and I shouldn't because Ashley was crying, but she's crying because Michael Darby is MIA. And she's like, I have these 2 little kids. Where is Michael? And I'm thinking to myself, you knew exactly who you were marrying. Like, Ashley, what is going on? She knew exactly who Michael was. She knew he was like, he's not going to be the best dad.
Slimy.
I mean, every year he made Ashley, he embarrassed her. Every single year. And she went along with it. I will never forget. It was the season 5 reunion of Potomac when Ashley was like, you said something really bad about my children and my husband. And Robin goes, what'd she say? That your kids looked like Michael? And she was like, yeah. And Robin was like, ooh. That's really weird. Like, that's a weird thing to be upset
like
about.
Their father. Like,
it was so funny because it was like this little moment, and it made me laugh so hard because Robin was like, "Oh, that's really weird. Like, that's a weird thing to be upset about, but very telling." And just like always, the talk of the prenup, like making it very clear that Ashley was, maybe just with Michael for the money.
Yeah, it's very Anna Nicole Smith.
Yes.
Vibes, period. Yes.
Very Anna Nicole Smith. So I can't wait. I can't wait for Giselle versus Candace because I feel like they're good adversaries. Like, no one is punching down.
No.
And I can't wait because also they're going on girls trip together, or they went on girls trip together. So that's kind of funny to me.
Yeah. With Portia.
Can't wait. Portia. Okay. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Portia? Do you think she should come back to Atlanta?
Absolutely. Look,
okay.
I love me some Portia Williams.
Portia is the bouncy energy we need on Atlanta. It's true. And I'm a team twirl, but I acknowledge Portia's power in the show.
Portia has, and it's funny, so I did not work on season 5 of Atlanta Housewives. I was producing another show. So I came back season 6 to executive produce the show.
Yeah, you were the EP for 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I watched Portia via the television screen season 5. And listen, Kenya Moore was all about, it was all about Kenya Moore season 5. Like,
100%.
you never saw this whimsical character be a housewife ever. It was like this girl twirled into the show, and the show hasn't been the same since, in a good way. But I felt like Portia was like the dark horse because Kenya and Portia came in the same season. But because Kenya was like something you've never seen, all eyes were on Kenya. But I remember being at home like, this woman, Portia, is so underrated and people aren't talking about her enough. She has it. She was able to have these shady moments with Kenya. She wasn't afraid. She never backed down. And I'm like, y'all are sleeping on Portia. And there were rumors about Portia not coming back to Housewives, especially because Cordell filed for divorce and Portia found out on Twitter.
I mean, I say this, my friend and I say it to each other all the time, and you can't not hear it in her voice. But when she goes, Cordell is not perfect by far. I say it all the time. I don't know why. It's just something that sticks with me.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I just think she has made her mark on the franchise. She is by far one of the most likable people you can meet. She's funny. And the thing about Portia is, besides being beautiful with a banging body, she is a fun time. And she doesn't take life too seriously. And talk about Sheree being iconic. Portia, to me, is super iconic because when she decided to date Simon and announce their engagement, the fact that she never once cared about public perception, I just find that so interesting. And look at her now. She's happy. And guess what? A year later, we all don't give a fuck anymore. We're like, okay, girl, let's just see our relationship.
I know.
Like,
I love their love story.
We're done with the drama. We're done with the controversy. And we're all like Team Portia and Simon.
Team Portia and Simon. I mean, I watched every single week her Portia Family Matters because the hot dog king is from Detroit and I'm from Detroit. So even though
Detroit.
You are?
Born and raised.
Shut up.
I didn't know you were from Detroit.
I literally live here. I'm looking at Henry Ford Hospital right now.
Where are you? East side, west side, Grosse Pointe?
I'm right by where am I? I'm right by the DIA, kind of like down that way.
I grew up on the east side. I left Detroit
This
at 22. Yeah. Born and raised, girl. Wayne State University. Yeah.
Yes. Wayne State's right here. Oh my God. That's
why we love each other. Okay,
so weird. Yeah, I'm truly looking out on Henry Ford Hospital at this moment. Yeah.
My father lives downtown.
Oh my God, where does he live? You don't have to
tell
me
like
right
the
now.
Wayne State area, like townhomes and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God. This is crazy. We'll talk.
Okay.
But yeah, so I love the hot dog king. I know that he's very controversial, but I just like with Toya, I have to love Toya. I have to love Kenya. Like, I just have to love these people that come from Detroit. But I also I need to see Simon on Housewives. When it first happened, when the news first broke, I was like, Portia, what the fuck is going on?
Same.
And now I'm like, they're happy and in love, and I'm a champion of love. So
same.
It is what it is.
Go girl.
And the thing that I wish that the not the Atlanta girls, that like the Beverly Hills girls would take note from the Atlanta and New Jersey girls is that they don't take it that serious, in my opinion. They really just like live their lives. Like if Housewives was taken away tomorrow, Candy would be fine. Kenya would be fine. Portia obviously is fine. The only person I would worry about right now is Drew. What are your thoughts on Drew?
You know what? Look, I'm
fascinated by her.
I was going to say, I'm very hard on Drew because I feel like she has so much potential. My issue with Drew that I've said publicly in my podcast and everywhere else is I feel like she tries too hard to get a moment. And I just want Drew to relax.
Yes.
And be in the moment. Don't stop being an actress. I'm rooting for her in my Tyra Banks voice. I'm rooting for you. We're all rooting for you.
Yeah.
But she does this dumb shit where she's like, oh, I have these dog trees. I'm like, girl, why are you doing these things? Like, She's beautiful. She's accomplished. I'm obsessed with her and Ralph's relationship in terms of like, I want to see more of that.
I do too.
But
I need her to chill.
I want her to chill out, be in the moment, because I'm frustrated with her because I feel like she has all the capabilities of being a great housewife.
I do too. It's the overproducing and the trying to make a moment. And it's like, Drew, your life is interesting without the dog bones. Like, I don't need that. Like this, I find her and Ralph to be fascinating. Like I can't get enough of them. Because they make me laugh because I don't think they're in on the joke. Like, and the joke is them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not aware of this. Like they think they're being like really good actors in this situation and they're not. And and everyone can pick up on it. And I just love that. Also, you are the executive producer on Love and Marriage Huntsville, Love and Marriage DC.
Yep.
And Miss Monique Samuels is on DC.
She is.
How is Monique Samuels? Because, I was a really big Moni girl until season 5. Yeah. I loved Chris Samuels. I loved their family. I loved their fish tank. I loved T'Challa. May he rest in peace.
Yes.
I often quote Monique when my friend wears a crop top and I say, oh, she's got the top ab. She said that about Karen. Like I say it all the time. So, okay, what's going on with Monique?
Yeah. So I, like you, when Monique came on Potomac season 2, I remember texting the producers who I was friends with, and I'm like, this girl is everything. I love her. I was always Team Monique. When things happened season 5, I saw the situation more as a producer in terms of why did this happen? How did it come to this? To me, it left a stain on that particular show, and it didn't need to be because Potomac was on this great rise anyway. And I just felt like there was some complication going on there, right? Mm-hmm. So when she left the show, I reached out to her. Long story short, we became friends. And when the idea came to franchise Love and Marriage Huntsville into another city, I did reach back out to her because I wanted to see if she was able to give this reality TV world another try. Mm-hmm. And she decided to do it. And the thing about Monique, and it's funny because she and I spoke this past weekend, Monique is she's a complicated woman. Mm-hmm. And when I say complicated, I mean, she's very sensitive. She has a lot of emotions. And she has a lot of things that she wants to put out there in terms of context and complexities. And, she's fascinating to watch. She's beautiful. She's interesting. She's a great mom, a supporting wife. And when it comes to showing the fullness of her, that's where things sometimes gets tricky because, at least for her, and she said this publicly, she feels like there's not a lot of context to her. And one thing I said to her was like, this is reality TV, girl. This isn't, a documentary just on your life. You got to share the stage with people. Mm-hmm. And my biggest thing with her is I feel like she was born to be on television. And my goal for her is to use the power of reality TV to her benefit, because I do believe she can't overcomplicate things, because being able to show your life and your vulnerability on TV is a lot. That's why I choose to be behind the scenes and not show my life, because I get it. But that also means you have to be able to take what's given to you and not feel like everyone's against you.
Yeah. I think reality TV has a hard time with complex female characters. Totally. Because like a lot of people don't pick up on the nuance of that. And I think with the whole Candace thing, it was a very layered, and we didn't get to see all of those layers. Yeah. And this is coming from someone who's like, I'm a candy gal. I'm a basset hound. And
I love Basset Hound. That's good.
Yeah, I'm a Basset Hound. I love her. I'm fully aware that she's a chaotic queen. Oh, yeah, I understand. But but I can't get enough. She makes me laugh. And I think, I think Monique is like very complex. And I think like when we didn't really get into it on the show, but like she tried to explain, like, when your hands were in my face, it took me back to a place that I haven't ever processed. And there was a lot of that. And I feel like I wish we got to see a little bit more of that side of her.
Yeah.
But okay, did you watch Real Houses of Beverly Hills last night?
Of course.
We have to talk about it.
Let's do it.
I have so many thoughts. So many thoughts, comments, concerns. Garcelle is one of the best housewives to come out of this franchise in a really, really long time.
Beyond.
To watch her subtly and not so subtly produce Crystal into talking to Erica about the earrings was cinema. It was cinema. I loved it. What are your thoughts on the season so far? Rinna, Erica, Sutton, like what are you thinking?
I feel like everybody, well, let me back up a bit. As some people call the Fox Force 5, or since Teddy's left, is the Fox Force 4, maybe.
4, right.
I'm a big Kyle Richards fan. I just think she's great. I think she's great for the show and the franchise. They're all unlikable to me this season because none of them are acting in reality. They're acting to save their own friendships and to come across as supportive in situations where it's painfully obvious that this person
someone is wrong.
Yeah, like this person's like Lisa Rinna screaming across the room at Sutton is wrong. Let her know she's wrong. It's these Diana laughing, saying Sutton is a cunt. That's not funny. Like, check her and say that's not okay. The way Kyle checked Sutton when Sutton and Diana had their one-on-one, and Kyle was like, "You can't say that, Sutton," and just like kind of like pushed her, aggressively. I'm like, Kyle, what are you doing? And no one's checking Erica on like her behavior. It's a very weird season because they all are playing to camera, and it's not good. Whereas Garcelle is the star of the show now. She has replaced Kyle as the force multiplier. And it's the Garcelle show. And Garcelle is starting conversations that are meaningful. And
she's moving things along.
Yes, it's getting a rise out of people. The way, honey, let me tell y'all something. Again, unpopular opinion based on Twitter. I can watch Erica Jane all day long. The way she reacted and responded to Garcelle and Crystal, I like seeing that side of Erica when she's like being a bitch. Because I feel like Erica is a bitch 90% of the time, but she doesn't show it on television. I think she saves it for behind the scenes. Like last season when Garcelle revealed, "Yeah, you told me Tom called you." And I felt like Erica saw all the House of Cards falling down and she like ran to the bathroom and you heard her mic open, like cussing out the producer. I think that's the real Erica. So anytime I get to see that shit on camera, I'm like, good job, Garcelle. You brought out the real Erica, and I love watching it.
I know. I get my popcorn. My eyes were as big as saucers last night when Erica was just repeatedly saying that she's a victim and she's not sure if there's real victims. I was like, Erica, what are we doing? Rinna saw that and was like, we got to get her the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And I also was like, why is Rinna allowed to do that? Like, producers, in my opinion, I wish producers were like, sit down.
Well,
what?
That's why there's not a lot of Carlos Kings in the world. Because I'm going to be like, no, bitch, we are having this conversation. But that's the problem that I'm having with this season. Whereas it was okay to, and again, I feel like if you sign up to be on reality TV, all bets are off. Like your life is on full display and you must talk about it. So I wasn't mad that they were trying to get Denise Richards to admit she had sex with Brandy.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, no, sorry, Denise, you're on the show, bitch. Talk about it. So I wasn't mad at Lisa Rinna getting that tea. So if that's how you're going to operate with Denise Richards, you're a longtime friend for 20 years. Why can't you give that same attitude to Erica, your friend of 4 years? based on the show. 'Cause let's be clear. If Erica Jenkins fired, her and Lisa Rinna would never hang out, period.
Never.
So I hate to see these women not hold each other accountable. And as much as I love Kyle was playing up to the cameras in terms of, I can't defend you because the people who are watching this show are going to say, Kyle, how dare you not defend the victims? And Kyle's performance was not based in reality. It was based in her defending herself from Twitter attacking her.
Yeah. These women live too much of their lives on social media for my liking. I don't really like when my housewives play into social media that much.
I hate it.
Yeah. Let me be clear. I hate it.
Yeah.
I also hate glam squads, but that's like a whole different conversation. When Garcelle, first of all, I have to just make this note that there was a picture behind Crystal and Garcelle when they were having this very serious conversation with Erica of just, I believe to be Kyle's breasts. And no one is talking about it. It's like full lingerie cleavage with red nails, like behind Crystal. And I can't stop thinking about it because they were having this really deep conversation. And like all I could focus on was like these boobs. Anyway, I digress. But when Crystal says like, when she's like, let's get real.
Yeah.
I was like, let's fucking get real. Crystal
get real, bitch.
fuck in. Crystal clocked in. She's ready to work.
Yeah.
I was like,
I love it.
God. Because I really, really like her. And I think she can add so much to the show if she just like would let herself.
She's another one that has a lot of potential, but she's too in her head.
She's too like worried about things. And I take issue with Kyle saying it was very mean girl of Sutton or Garcelle. Who was it? She was like calling one of them a mean girl.
Sutton, because she was saying how Sutton is one way one-on-one, but a different way in the group meeting. They're like, yeah, it's very mean girl. And I'm like, pot, kettle, black.
I know. I'm like, didn't you hide Brandy's crutches? Like, you are the mean girl of the group. Like, and I say this all the time about Kyle. She's a great sidekick. I don't think she has the capability to be like the lead or the star. Like in acting, it was Kim. And now Kathy's coming in hot. People love Kathy Hilton so much. Like Kathy breathes and Twitter is like, yes, Kathy.
Yes.
Like it's like last year, I believe I don't know. It like people do. I like Kathy, but people do too much with her. But Kyle's being really mean to her. Like it doesn't feel like sisterly and like fun.
There's something going on there.
There's something going on because Kathy always only sits next to Garcelle. They laugh together. They have a good time. Kyle makes fun of her bag, makes fun of her slippers, makes fun of like, is doing these weird things. And there's some tension there.
Yeah, I think Kyle doesn't want to be on a show with her family anymore. No. I think Kyle looks at the show like, it's my show now. Kim is gone. They brought Kathy on. Ugh, okay. And I think she saw Kathy get the fan favorite treatment last season. And it was sort of like, oh gosh, is she going to like take my spot? And then because Kathy didn't come back until the middle of the season due to contract negotiations, you know, I think Kyle feels like, what did y'all give Kathy for her to come back? Is she making more than me? So I think all of that went to Kyle's head, and Kyle now sees her own sister as competition.
100%. And I'm obsessed with the editors playing into the whole Mauricio Dorit affair rumor.
That little like, snippet of them talking about like dinner or meats or something.
The sausage.
I'm like, what? I said, oh, y'all are really trying it.
They really are. I don't believe it for a second.
No,
but I love the idea of it like being played up by the editors. I think that's fun. I also think it was a really fun moment when Garcelle, I think, said the word Doritos and they cut to Dorit. Like,
see, now
that got me good.
I was the only one who peeped that. I was like, why show Dorit when they said Doritos? I loved it.
It made me laugh. Good. I mean, no one will will match the Real Houses of Atlanta editors because the things that they put together on that show are
good. Yes.
so funny. Like the KFC of it all is just
That
too
was
much.
good.
So
And the
funny.
fact that Marlo was wearing a Colonel Sanders outfit in her confessionals the whole time.
It's we don't deserve. And I mean, the fact that everything is now going to come out about Kathy Hilton because of Kendall Jenner's tequila is
Yeah,
really
when I saw that, I'm like, is that
funny
the reason for the beef? It was so crazy to me.
crazy.
It's so Beverly Hills, though.
It's so Beverly Hills. Do you have any final thoughts about Beverly Hills?
Listen, I'm a big fan of the show. It used to be tied with Potomac in terms of my favorite or the best one ever. Not ever, the best one currently. This season isn't their best. And I want them to get back to having real conversations and not playing to social media, because the season with Denise was iconic. I love that season. Sorry, guys. I love Teddy. I thought Teddy brought it. Sorry. Unpopular opinion. I know. Read me if you want to. I don't give a shit.
I will never forget Teddy sitting on the floor and going, "You made out? Like you kissed on the lips?"
Yes. Yes.
I was like,
like you said about Crystal, I like it when a housewife clocks in, does her job, and says, "Fuck
like
it."
makes me laugh.
Like, do your job.
Yeah.
And last season, that whole Erica James, last season was so fucking good, and the ratings proved it. I mean,
it was it was like must-see TV.
That Erica James scandal was and I literally could not get I wanted Bravo for the first time ever to drop all the episodes in one setting, like a Netflix, selling the sunset or some shit. Like, I anticipated weekly, and I literally loved every single episode, plus the 4-part reunion. It was a 4-part reunion, wasn't it?
Yeah. I couldn't get enough.
I
just couldn't.
Loved it. Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah. So I want it to get back to that. This season, again, I think with the way Lisa Rinna got trashed for the way she treated Denise, and the way Kyle got trashed for not supporting Erica, I think they're all just playing to social media, and it needs to stop. And this season, Garcelle has taken over as the force multiplier.
I agree. And I mean, too much social media stuff for me, because that's kind of when I tap out, is when there's so much going on like that. I'm like, I can't keep up. This is not real to me. Like, it feels really dirty, like the stuff with Garcelle's son and the bots and all of that. Like, that to me is so vile. I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I don't even want to touch this because it's too much.
It's not fun. And we watch these shows. Listen, if you want to judge how they act and their outfits, fine. Leave it alone with the dark shit. And that's my issue when people go too far. Like, it's a fucking TV show.
It's a show.
Stop it. Like, this isn't a place where I want to be watching these cast members talk about how their children are being affected, or how they're receiving death threats. Yeah. Like, are you kidding me? What
people need to go outside and touch some grass. Like, if you're doing that shit, it's weird.
Period.
Like, I love Twitter, like, because I think Twitter's like such a funny place.
Yeah.
But it also takes some fun out of Housewives, especially for New Jersey. Like, because people would literally lay themselves on train tracks for Teresa Giudice. And I'm like, Teresa literally does not know you exist.
Her tree huggers don't play.
The tree huggers don't play.
They don't.
And like, the thing that bothers me about some fans, and Dave Quinn and I have discussed this, is like, I can't say a negative thing about Teresa without people just assuming I hate her family, want them dead, like all these things. I'm like, no, I like her. I do. I like Teresa. I like her family. This Louis situation I find fascinating. The wedding, I couldn't get enough. There was fire dancers. The hair was the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It was crazy. Yeah. I love it. But I also can acknowledge when Teresa is wrong, which is a lot of the time, in my opinion.
And that's okay. No, and that's the thing. It's okay to say, I love you, but this is how I feel. I just said, I love Kyle. However, Kyle, you're unlikable this season. Stop the bullshit. You should be able to express that freely without feeling like you're going to get ridiculed by their fan base. It's ridiculous.
It's too much and it's not fun. Before you go, I want to ask you some quick questions.
Okay.
Because obviously you're the king of reality TV, the king of just, I mean, you're a producer, you're an executive producer, you're Carlos motherfucking King. What do you wish Bravo fans knew? Like just as a whole, like what is something that comes to your mind where you're like, God, I wish that they just like knew how it is behind the scenes. Like that kind of stuff.
Your iconic moments that you love to talk about, repeat, it really does happen organically. Like it's not something where it's pre-produced. The producers don't tell these cast members what to talk about in terms of like, say this, say that. It's not that. It really is these women being fascinating. And the reason why some seasons are not great opposed to others is because sometimes there's not a lot going on in that person's life. And sometimes you make a bad casting decision. And it doesn't mean you have to blame the production company or the producers. A lot of times, I think the Housewives fans forget these are real people. And not everyone's life is really interesting every year.
Yeah.
Like, I think you have to give some sort of grace to them. Atlanta has been talked about in terms of having not the greatest seasons for the past couple of years.
Which I disagree, by the way. I loved the Bolo season, which is a hot take, apparently.
Yes.
I loved it. I'm like, these women are shooting during a pandemic. Like, what do we want from them? They're trying their best. Like,
yeah. So I would say give them some grace.
Who do you think was like a bad casting decision? Like, not saying you hate them or anything. Like,
oh
you
no,
just like,
I've
they
said
don't
this publicly.
fit.
Kim Fields.
I said that too.
Yeah, and she'll say it too.
Live. Yeah,
it's Kim Fields. She'll agree. We all agree. It's her for sure.
She was not a good casting decision.
No,
when she did that, what was it? No, the brunch,
no makeup.
The no makeup brunch or
Yes.
something. I was like, Kim.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
Makeup free. Yep.
Yeah, that was bad. Has a housewife ever yelled at you?
Nene, Kim, Candy.
You answered that so quickly.
Yeah, Nene, Kim, Candy, Cynthia.
Oh my God, Cynthia.
Portia, Phaedra. Like, of course, like, yes.
Everyone
except Kenya.
Wow.
That's it.
I have to tell you. So I was at BravoCon last time. I'm obviously going this year as well. And I was at the Atlanta panel because they're like my faves. And when I tell you these women are the most beautiful women I've ever seen in real life. Like,
yes.
First of all, everyone in general I always say this, is a lot smaller than you think, like shorter, smaller, except for Kyle Cook from Summer House. He's taller than you would expect because he looks very short on TV. But Kenya Moore was like breathtakingly beautiful. I was in the front row and I was shaking. And then when Portia got wheeled out in that wheelchair at BravoCon, I screamed because she has the same personality. Like she's exactly the same. That is.
She really
Kim
is.
Zolciak is exactly the same in real life as she is on TV. Like these women are bananas and I love them. It's like, I love that. I love when they're exactly who they are. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So they all yelled at you. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. They all have, period.
Do you think Housewives has jumped the shark?
No, I don't. I think what needs to happen is you have to continue to follow the real. And I think what has jumped the shark is when the Housewives use the show to promote their products and businesses and not to be real. And I think that's when these seasons aren't as great. I said publicly, I think Diana was a horrible casting choice for Beverly Hills. I think she did the show because she was bored and she wanted to be famous.
And I think she wanted Asher to get like a record deal or something.
Yeah, it was. She's not invested. She stays in a different hotel. She's always sick.
I need these women locked in a room together.
Yeah, like what are you doing?
I need them together.
Yeah, so I think what's jumped the shark is the reasons for joining the show for business purposes in lieu of telling your story.
Yeah, I agree. I also have a problem with like influencers joining. That really is just not my cup of tea. And how do you think we bring back New York? Like, What do we do with New York City?
For me, it's all about the OGs. I think
The OGs.
New York is great when you have a Bethany, Ramona, Sonia, Luann, even Dorinda. Yes, all those women are over 50. I get it, but I think at the end of the day, that show works best with those women.
I agree. I am a big proponent of, I don't want my housewife, and I have favorite housewives that are under 40. Like I love Candace, I love Ashley. Yeah. I think they're great, whatever. I love a housewife that's over 40.
I think they just have more life experience.
They have more life experience. Like their husbands could be cheating on them. They might like, be a businesswoman. Like I just feel like they're so, and I love seeing women in that age group like living their lives.
Yeah,
like,
I'm the same.
Not being like just a mom or like, you know, I feel like they get very overlooked. So like, I don't give a fuck that Ramona is 68 years old. She's literally
I could care less.
Shaking her ass to David Guetta in Ibiza.
Yeah.
Like, I love her.
I want to see. Turtle time all the time.
Turtle time all the time. That is pretty much all I have. I'm shaking from this conversation. I might cry afterwards because I can't believe I got to talk to you. A Detroit native.
Yes.
That is so crazy. I can't believe that I did not know that. Wow. There is a photo of Kenya Moore hanging up at a restaurant in Mexican Town, in case you're wondering.
Oh, I gotta see that.
Yeah, they're big fans.
Okay.
Yeah, in case you know. Tell everybody where they can watch you, find you, follow you.
Sure. My Instagram and Twitter is at @TheCarlosKing_. I have a podcast called Reality with the King, where I talk about reality TV all the time and interview subjects in the unscripted space. You can find that wherever you get your podcast. And I have a late night show on the Oprah Winfrey Network called The Nightcap with Carlos King. That's coming back next year. And if you follow me, I'll give you updates.
Yeah, he really does. And his podcast is so hilarious and so full of information. Well, thank you so much. And you guys, thank you for listening. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.